Welcome back. The program is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. For another issue this morning, the Center for Dialogue on Human Settlement and Poverty Alleviation and the Federation of Urban and Rural Poor Sierra Leone has concluded a city learning platform and audio-visual seminar on the theme Inclusive Participation, an Essential Pillar to Building Back Better. The City Learning Forum was conceived as an exit strategy by the Slum Pampo Alliance geared towards providing democratic space for learning and sharing knowledge about urban issues, especially those of informed settlement. In the studios, we have Francis Anthony Refu, who is the founder and director of the Center of Dialogue on Human Settlement and Poverty Alleviation. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Sierra Leone.
Good morning viewers.
Now, before we go to the depth of the City Learning Forum, tell us about the Center for Dialogue on Human Settlement.
Center of Dialogue is a non-profit organization, and it's working towards alleviating poverty, targeting particularly people in deprived communities and deprived population. It is part of the Slum Dwellers International Network and is the professional support office for the Federation of Urban and Rural Poor, which is a network of savings groups within and across deprived settlements in the cities and in other rural areas. Basically, our main focus is trying to engage with the various stakeholders through building capacities of this deprived population so that they become, their own mouthpiece in terms of engagement.
Now, in Sierra Leone, what are the areas do you consider to be deprived settlements?
Well, maybe let's take the Western area, for example. Due to urbanization, a lot of settlements in Freetown particularly are considered to be deprived because they lack basic services like connecting to the city grid in terms of water, poor electricity connection. The environment are susceptible to disaster, mainly tidal flooding, seasonal flooding. We have had incidents of mudslide and rock falls. So those areas, that are on the fringes of the city are considered to be deprived locations. Of course, in other areas like in the rural settings here, there is a lack of electricity and other basic services like water, pipe-borne water, and all this kind of stuff. And with the presence of, a huge poverty situation.
Okay. Now tell us about the City Learning Forum. What is it about?
The City Learning Forum, as you just mentioned, was an exit strategy in between 2013 and 2018-19. There was a big funding by Comic Relief UK through their 4 Cities initiative. They were targeting 4 cities within Africa, and Freetown was one of those. And within Freetown, 6 agencies were selected to be part of that grant. And these 6 agencies were namely Center of Dialogue on Settlement and Poverty Alleviation, Youth Development Movement, BRAC, Restless Development, Australian YMCA, and another agency. Actually, 6 of them were together. But then when the project was coming to an end, as part of an exit strategy, they come up with this concept of the City Learning Platform, which is basically organizing communities in what we call community learning platform to discuss issues that are pertinent to, the progressive transformation of their settlement. And those discussions are documented that we feed into the City Learning Platform. The City Learning Platform now is the democratic space in which various actors, both state and non-state actors, as well as communities.
That sounds like something you could work with the SLBC. To continue. Yeah, from me, from my own side, it looks like a one-off, something that you did as an exit strategy, just a few days dialogue.
That's what I'm coming now.
Okay.
So now, that was then as an exit strategy, And so we came up with this concept so that City Learning Platform now provides that kind of space for all these actors to dialogue together, and find workable solutions that will benefit deprived settlements, informal settlement slums within the Freetown settlement. And so one of the agencies, actually, SLOC, had set the pace before. They have been engaging, at some level. So we felt that as also part of that arrangement, then we can also pick it up from there and move forward. So I think this is something that we have started and we continue to engage further on it.
Because you need to have like some dialogue with the communities. I'm thinking that perhaps 50%, if not more, of the city populations live in these rural areas. And we have these, like Susan's Bay, for example, when building back, do you just build and have the same situation again, or do you build back better? But better, I'm saying, in consultation with the communities, because at the end of the day, they have to live there. They're the ones who are going to be deprived of the roads, the electricity, the grid facilities.
Definitely. So that's the kind of role we're playing. Of course, you agree with me that there's that gap, that relationship gap between the state and those in informal settlements, slum to be specific. And so we have tried to establish a bridge that create that space, that platform.
Now,
so that's why we have this City Learning Platform.
Why do you think there is a gap between the state and those kind of settlements?
Well, it is basically, I would say, firstly, due to failed systems, in the sense that there is this drive for everybody to relocate to Freetown to seek opportunities. And in the process, we have rapid, unplanned, very indiscriminate urbanization process that is taking place. And the outcome of that are slums and informal settlements. So according to the laws, these are illegal settlements. And so they are not entitled to land security, they are not entitled to services, and they do not have the kind of space to be able to engage. So this over time has resulted into this gap. So now our role has been to really create a bridge between these settlements and the state agencies.
So is there a willingness among the two?
For example, the current administration of the Freetown Council recognized that over 35% of the population of Freetown are in those settlements. And so they make up the population that we regard as Freetonians. And the drive is that they want to make the city inclusive. So there have been a lot of engagement. And the good thing also is that even the state government are gradually moving towards understanding and appreciating those realities. That is why, like the National Land Policy 2015 now says you cannot refer to this settlement as slums, but as informal settlements. So it's a kind of gradual and progressive kind of way of addressing those issues.
Now, does that agreement, the land settlement agreement, does it have any form of, apart from changing the name, or any form of solid developments that would be under those parts of the country?
No, it will be difficult at the moment. But, the first thing we have to understand is that what will really drive development in those areas are determined by the laws and the policies that we have. And so if government is gradually developing policies that accommodate the needs of those people, I think that is a step forward. Of course, it may interest you to know that, for example, the incident in Susan's Bay has, actually taken government's attention, in which government is working towards the issue of building back better in those areas. A technical working group is established, and a discussion is going on around that, how to make it that it becomes built better.
Now, I think it's difficult for government to understand that there should be permanent settlements or accept the fact that people should live in that part of the country because they are disaster-prone areas. So the people themselves should understand that these areas are not good for living.
Nobody wants to live in that situation, definitely. That is why one of our slogan, or our mantra is that, or what the people believe is that upgrades where possible and relocate where necessary. They have come to terms with the reality that these are deprived locations. These are places that are susceptible to, recurrent disaster incidences, and so their lives are at risk. They are in a hazardous situation. But the fact is that when you look at people's earning capacity, the issue of poverty is driving those people to those places. And you agree with me that in terms of access to a more safe and habitable housing, it's a very costly one. And if you look at the population of Freetown, over 60% or more are within, below or on the verge of the poverty line. So how many people would have to afford $1,000 rent, for example, $2,000 as the case may be? And so those realities are driving those people. So
yeah, but
it becomes government responsibility.
I know,
also.
but I guess there was a time when government relocated some of them to an area. I don't know if it's close to Waterloo or so, but they came back to those slum communities.
No, I agree.
So would you say that is because they can't earn enough to pay $1,000 rent?
No, when we talk about relocation, people just think it's just to grab people, load them in the vehicle, and take them to the next safe location. Relocation goes with a lot of
yeah, but they should start from somewhere. Taking them to the next location is a start. By then they will be given a hospital, a marketplace, or a farm, or somewhere for them to do agriculture.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yes,
since those people were relocated to those places, and they left, have you found out why they left? So those are
they would say it's because they don't have business opportunities.
Yeah, they don't have business.
But humans have to make the business opportunities for themselves.
Yes, indeed, it does happen. Unfortunately, the areas they are is where the businesses are, but they are living in disaster-prone areas. So just taking them from their livelihood to a new location, they have to be accompanied with it. So if government is serious about education, it means it has to be the package that will ensure that once they are relocated, those livelihood, it's not about giving them fanciful buildings, that's not the point, but they should have access to their livelihood so that on a daily basis they're able to survive. I think that is what brings them
from
back
your discussions or meetings with government, is government really aware of the fact that they have to relocate them with their livelihood? Have they
as I mentioned, like the situation in Susan's Bay currently, the discussions are around that. I cannot give you the details as because it is still at the formative stage.
Okay.
But government recognize the fact that they have come to terms that if you are talking about relocation, then it has to be an accompaniment of all of those opportunities.
Well, we'll go for a short break. Thank you very much, Mr. Refu. And when we're back, we're going to take a look at the brand new driving license, the brand new biometric
driving
license that are being issued out now by the SRSA. We'll be back after a short break.